All right, you guys. You're now streaming live. Okay, so let's call the meeting to order. And I guess we'll begin with introductions. So I'm Kim Anderson, and I'm a selectman, and I get to chair this committee.
All right, I'm Colleen Yellen, a citizen. I'm Ann Leslie. Are you going to say more? I don't want to. I'm Ann Leslie. I'm also a citizen. Katie Bryan.
Terry Wood, superintendent, and I'm a citizen of Wiscasset as well.
Carla Dixon, citizen.
Jason Putnam, resident.
Zach Gray, citizen. Kevin Hardwick, I do live here.
Alan Terrence, and I'm also a resident.
All right. Review the notes from last meeting, identify a volunteer to take the notes tonight. Is there anybody who would volunteer to take notes?
I can take notes.
Thank you. Okay.
Were there notes sent?
They weren't sent, so I apologize. So at the last meeting, wait, did I send them? I don't think I did. I don't think I sent them, but I believe I made them. What we basically did was we divided up part 6 of the inventory, which is municipal facilities. We divided up each one of those items to someone in the group around the table, and we took our little working orders away and we updated it. And I can run through who did what. So it's pretty much on here. We had the fire department, Wiscasset ambulance service, and the police department was going to be Alan. Water supply was Jason. Sanitary was Kevin and Jason. Public works, that was me. Sidewalks was Ellsworth, that's our Lincoln County planner. And local roads was also Ellsworth. So I haven't heard from her, but I can follow up with her. Solid waste and transfer station was Katie Bryant. And did Sabrina connect with you? Mm-hmm. Okay, Sabrina Epsinski. And then Parks and Rec is Colleen. And the Wiscasset Public Library was Jody, who sent me something, Jody Hardwick. And then the school department was going to be Colleen. So that was pretty much what we agreed to do last time. Do we want to review our updates? And before we begin the review of our updates, I think the bigger question for us now is how are we going to get those updates into the plan? So, because for my example, I came away from Public Works with a list of new trucks that they own and any changes that were in the old plan. And so now I have that piece of paper. Who's going to do the writing? So I'm not sure if we necessarily need to share each update with the group here, but what we do need to share is how we think that should be handled. Like who's going to write it? Should we each write our own section? Or do we want to have one person be the writer and everyone could submit the data to that person and then they can rewrite the old?
Well, I wondered if we wanted to do it like this, just by updating what is there. Is that the easiest way? Is that the best way? Is that?
So when you say this, and you point at your screen, do you have
like the whole, the existing.
And you type right?
I just don't know if we could
Like
like
have a document that can be edited.
Was this a Google Drive?
The
or-
one we saw was 208 online. I've got it printed out, but is this what we're following?
I think it was
Like-
2008.
Yeah, it's the 2008 one, yep.
Okay.
And we do have it as a Google Doc, and we have it as a Word doc. So we could just update the section and then just send it back and start putting it together. What do you guys think about that?
Well, my opinion is that we should each do our own section because, you know, to have one person do everything, everything makes it tough for that person not having done the interviews and.
Yeah,
Somebody else had to edit it, you know, once.
Right,
Yeah,
have an
and-
editor at the end, but yeah, have us all, I agree, I think that's good.
all right, so good, we live and learn, because when we left here last time, we were like, all right, we'll get a template. So Ellsworth gave us a little chart to fill in, but you guys are right, we should probably, I should just send you the section, and then you just type it over, and we make sure that we don't mess up the
Would you
original.
send
I
us the
wonder,
whole-
I mean, can you make your changes, track your changes so that we can all
You can in
see the
Google.
whole-
The way I did it, I did mine in Word, but I had it, I mean, my comprehensive plan is a PDF, but
Did you just type it over?
Yeah, I just, somehow I got it into a Word document, I just
Got
You
copied
did
it.
it, yeah.
So, and I redid it in Word. So-
Can I, because I missed last time,
Yes.
what was the task? Just to fill in the data that was already there? Or were people asking for projections of what was needed? None of that.
No, because, so just as an overview, in the comprehensive plan, and I'm sorry I can't project it, I don't know what
I
the
was at the
projector
first
is.
meeting, so maybe.
So, but
whatever
in
it
the
is.
comprehensive plan, there's two parts. And the first part is just an inventory of everything that the town has. And then the second part is goals, your strategic plans, your projections for where you want to be in the next 10 years. So we agreed that, like at the first meeting, we had some discussion, can we just do strategic planning without updating the inventory? And I think after reflection, we decided we have to update the inventory first, and that's the kind of
So that's the base.
roll up your sleeves and just do this work. It's not the exciting, fun visioning process, which will come later. So then we talked about that, right, at our meeting in September. And then we took municipal facilities as it's section 6 of the comprehensive plan, and we just divided that up. And these are all of the sections underneath municipal facilities, which is fire department, Wiscasset ambulance service, and the police department. The water supply, this list that you see under step 1 on your agenda. And so we all went away and we met, like I went to the garage and I met with Ted Snowden and we ran through the trucks. And so now we can update, but I didn't type it in anywhere. I just have a page of notes that I wrote. And so now I can just type it. And I like that idea, just redoing it as a Google Doc that we can,
Would you send us the doc? of
yeah,
the
that's what I should
changes?
do right now. Yes.
Yes.
Should I do that right this second?
I'm
Probably,
sure.
right? So how about, well, I send that, do you guys
And
want
we
to go
can make changes
around?
in it, we can make active changes in it as
Yep.
it gets here.
Can one person have it open at a time and all?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, so everyone can have it, the same thing open, and I'll just send section 6, and I'll send it to all of us, and then each one of us can adjust our changes. Now, when I do things like this with kids at school, there's always inappropriate, like, texting on the side, and people like erasing other people's work, like, we're not gonna do that. So, that's my joke,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
that's pretty lame.
No, it's funny actually, but I was just thinking, I still am concerned that,
Oh, right here.
that we should have a record of the changes. I'm wondering if we should use suggesting mode, and that in the end.
Well, if
someone will
you just
have
type
to-
over, if you edit a Google Doc, you can press the revision history.
Yeah, that's true.
And it shows you who made what changes and at what date and at
Okay,
what time.
all right.
And,
I'm just worried about, I'm thinking about
losing
myself.
something.
Yeah, losing something that I might not know is important, but actually is really important to retain. And I'm thinking in the end, we'll have to sort of look over the whole thing that way. But yeah, we can use revision history, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, and you're gonna wanna, make a copy of it and then share it with us, so then
Yeah.
you'll have the original.
yes.
This doesn't have-
Definitely.
Yeah.
So while I do that, do you guys want to go around and just share out like a little bit about what your experience was and what you learned and whatever you have? Starting with you, Alan.
You can. So I guess I went a little farther than what we're supposed to based off of the questions asking about what they wanted for the next 10 years. So the police department was best to get back to me with the quickest. I don't know when this building was built. I'm sure it's in the plan somewhere, but none of the departments actually had a date. It's a
When this
1970s.
building? Yeah.
For each part of this building, yeah. So that's something I need to go back and refine. The police department said it's poor. It has been identified that there's asbestos in the tiles, so the fire department has been tore up. They took all the tiles out. Maintenance process was taken care of, so they're about to put new floors in there. But the police and the EMS have not been taken care of, and that is something that needs to be taken care of as soon as possible. They have two cruisers, 2015 and 2016. Both cruisers are getting up there in mileage, so those are something that we do need to plan for into the future. They have 3 computers, 2 for each cruiser, and then 1 for the office, and those need to be replaced. They give me what their plan was for their next 10 years. They have a 10-year budget plan they're trying to get approved through the town, which includes another cruiser, and it doesn't have to be an SUV. And then also looking to get 2 more full-time police officers to have 24-hour operations. The fire department has 5 vehicles in the bays. There was 2 vehicles outside that I did not look at after, and I also looked at the plan and saw that they were in there, so I need to go back and check those out. One of those trucks is deadline right now, meaning that it doesn't work at all, which is their ladder truck. The most expensive vehicle that would need to be replaced. They said it's a $1.25 million vehicle. So that's a big
One
deal.
point, what?
$1.25 million to replace the ladder truck.
There's no ladder truck at all working in Wiscasset.
There is not. There is a ladder truck that's in there right now, and based off what the interim chief told me is that it's worth about $5,000.
I think
The-
it's been offline for a couple of years at least.
Yeah, he said the last few maintenance that they've done to it and things they had to do to fix it, were about $10,000 each time. Right now, there's a part that's broken, and because the company no longer exists that made that truck, it's part of the reason why it's not worth very much, and also the reason that it's very difficult to fix it. So if we want a new ladder truck, that's what we're looking at, is $1.25 million. I guess it's been addressed that it may not be needed, so that's something that the town needs to decide whether we do want that truck or we don't want that truck. The radio system and antenna is something that needs to be replaced. I was talking with other departments, and they believe that the funding was already approved for that. So there's a radio system and an antenna that is not working as well as other surrounding towns, I guess, and they can pick up other people that are not getting them themselves. That's a big deal. The fire department, this is moving in the next 10 years, not set up for male and female. They're only set up for 1 bathroom with showers. They only have 1 set of turnout gear. They're supposed to have 2 because if they have back-to-back fires or something like that, they have contaminated stuff, so they only have 1 set. And their biggest, I think, besides the ladder truck, is the gear and storage maintenance, and this is also the fire department as well. They don't have enough adequate storage for their gear when they're trying to clean it, when they're trying to get ready to go to a fire. It's pretty tight quarters there with where their stuff is. And then also for maintenance, for cleaning their gear and all that type of stuff. The building with the ladder truck, I guess the ladder truck's too big for this building that they have here. So it was brought up that if we were to get a new building within a 1-mile radius of where we're at right now.
Where's the closest ladder truck otherwise?
I think almost every surrounding town.
Every town.
I think, pretty sure. I know the Bath has one. I'm pretty sure that Woolwich, or Alma and Edgecombe, is what I've heard. I don't know that. I haven't seen any, but that's what I've heard. The fire department didn't actually tell me the surrounding town, but I can look into that if it's something we want to know.
Well,
I'd be curious.
yeah, especially if you have to get a new building to get the ladder truck.
So he told me it's more of like an insurance policy for the town. He said that maybe 4 to 5 times a year is when it would be used. He did give me one instance that had photographs of one fire that it was used on and saved not only the building that we're at, but the building would have been next to it right downtown.
Of course, if it's my house, I want the ladder truck.
Right, exactly. But with that ladder truck, they had also brought in another ladder truck from Bath, so there was one on the front and there was one on the back. But
I had a question about the radio system and antenna.
Yep.
That didn't work. Why is that not working?
I think it's like out of date, like it's old technology.
Do they use, the town now has very high-speed broadband. Do
Yep.
they use connections to the town or to the fire
I don't
department?
know if the broadband, if that's what we're, I don't know if those are the
It's
same
not
type of
working on the
systems.
same
Yeah, I don't
system.
know if that's the same thing. I don't know, but I can look into those things
I'm
for
just
sure.
wondering what other towns use that might be more updated.
Well, what I've been told is that all the way from Brunswick, the interim chief works down in Brunswick, he can hear all kinds of stuff, but when he doesn't know about anything until he actually gets back to Wiscasset, and then he's like, oh, we had something. So he's listening to every other surrounding town, and he can hear them, and he can't hear his own town. So that's where we need to look at. So I'll look into more of that.
And do you all go to MMA to get, I mean, this may be more proactive in the future, maybe I'm off base on the inventory part of it, but
Yeah, because in this part, we are not doing any planning, in this part, we're just updating what we
What's
have,
there.
what's the current status right now. So,
I mean, I'm just trying to tell you that.
but it's good, I mean, it's good.
Well, okay, the radio
I
system
just
and
need
antenna
to
has
jump
needs to
to
be
the next
updated.
step.
Yeah, like we can't try and, if we go around the table and then we try and like sort out everything
Yeah.
tonight. I have to wake David up at 7.
So
Sorry.
the last two.
7-ish. Sorry.
Last two things for the fire department then were they're undermanned and the town building needs a maintenance person.
Okay,
They used to have a maintenance person, that got brought up by two different
yeah,
departments. EMS, they have 2 ambulances, both were bought in 2012. They're used vehicles, one's a new truck but with a used box, which means that all the stuff is a little bit more outdated. The truck's good, but the box not so much. And then the other one they have is a 2012 that was bought from Auburn. So they should be replaced every 8 to 10 years, so they said we're still good for a little bit, but they're working to get one and then another one. They have 2 power stretchers that they need to be replaced or get looked at getting replaced because they're almost out of their 7-year warranty. Cardiac monitors are from 2017. They should be good because they can be replaced every 5 years. And then they said computers, they're good to go on computers. And then the facility stuff, we talked about the asbestos, and then some stuff for the future I have here. And it's also said maintenance person. And then because the fire department said they wanted new uniforms, I'm only gonna bring this up because of that. EMS has new uniforms that they're not using. Fire uniforms. They were bought by the last director. And we're gonna try to do like a planning to merge or something, so they have all these brand new fire uniforms that may be able to be brought over to the fire department to address their main concern, or one of the main concerns.
okay,
And that's it.
interesting. Great, thank you,
Very
that
good.
sounds really good. So now if I send you this, do you feel comfortable typing that right into your part?
Absolutely, the plan wasn't really that in-depth for those 3 sections.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate it. I'm rusty on all this. I really appreciate hearing that. And I also was thinking, I know, and I'm not really up to date on town affairs, but I know there has been, controversy and discussion about merging with Lincoln County services and that kind of stuff. And it might be useful as part of the inventory. I don't know if we share any services at all with Lincoln County, but it might be useful to just put a statement in that, the town has so far always preferred to stay with their own services. That could be useful information to have when we go forward.
Okay.
If that's true, I mean, I don't know, but you might ask them whether.
Well, I mean, I know that we're using part of the town, or part of Lincoln County, but
We are using part of Lincoln County?
we don't have 24-hour operations.
Okay,
for the police
yeah,
department.
I would put that in there.
I think that's really
useful.
important.
Because I don't know anything about it, and that's just like another piece of the picture.
Right.
That's great.
Okay.
All right. Kevin?
So I have a wastewater treatment plant, and I called Rick and chatted with him on the phone.
Wait, who's Rick?
Rick
Gates?
Gates.
Gaith?
GAET.
G-A-E-T-H?
He's been there less than a year and he's on his way out.
He's pretty
Oh,
great
really?
though.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He
Darn,
would like anyone who wants to go see the plant to go.
okay.
I sent him that form, and he said, I can't fill this out. You need to come see this.
Did you go?
I hadn't went because I wanted to see who wanted to go.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Okay, so maybe afterwards, anyone who wants to go.
I need to go.
And
too.
Torla wastewater plant?
Yeah. yes.
Interesting, okay.
He said there's just too much stuff there to inventory down to a line item like that. So what I did get, he did send me the insurance evaluation for everything he has. So I do have a listing at least of like all of the pump stations and some equipment, some generators and cleaners and forklifts, and then also all of the main buildings. So I have some valuation and a list, but I haven't actually been yet, so
Okay.
that's where I was at with my section, so. And it sounds like that he would be there like normal business hours, so it'd have to be during the day. So
I can do that.
I didn't know what gentleman would be available, you know,
I could go after school
okay.
on a Monday or Wednesday,
Okay.
I guess Friday, yeah.
So you're saying he's leaving
He
He's
is
leaving in
in
January.
January?
although he said that maybe he'll stay a little longer. He's been asked to stay on a little longer. So, he basically, he did say that everything needs to be updated, has been updated since 1992.
Yeah,
And so I guess there's an RFP out, to bring in a consultant to look at either updating the existing building or building a new facility.
and that's the thing, about that whole sewage treatment plant, everything's out of date, it's gonna require a ton of work, and then with,
Sea
sea levels rising, it might not, like, I think that we should probably plan, or put it in our plan, that, a good look at that and
Yeah.
decide, you
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
like, do we want to put
I've heard $10 million to bring it back to where it should have been,
10 million?
10 million.
And so, yeah, would it make sense to move it?
I think we need that frame for the whole plan, actually.
Yeah.
Climate change.
Yes, I agree.
All right,
He did say DEP is currently happy with the facility. There've been no wastewater exceedances, so everything's been below
Oh, that's good.
standards as far as discharges go.
good.
And the license, the discharge license is up next year, but he doesn't think the current condition of the plant will impact getting that renewed at this point.
Okay. You didn't have a section, Zach.
That's correct. That wasn't my thought.
Jason, what do you have?
I had the water supply. I had an hour and a half conversation with Wiscasset, which was very good, a very good talk. By what I learned from him, and he has a nifty, I don't have the entire thing, but I have most of it. They had an independent consultant do, in April 2019, capital efficiency plan update. So, but by his accounts, the water system is in great shape as opposed to the sewage system.
Yeah.
I mean, they have done a lot of updates. They work with all the surrounding towns. They have, the pipes they put in are large enough to plan for the future. They're doing, you know, I have some stuff. He gave me some updates on, I gave him a copy of what it actually says, and he went right through there and changed some stuff, so there's a few updates. The section of water supply was actually really short, and in the 2008 one, we crossed it off. So basically, what they want to do, they have 4 phases. All of this is really should go in there. I need to, now that I've read through it more, I did this like 2 weeks ago. Now that I've read through it more, I need to find out if we can put this in here in mass, and it's pretty much everything they want to do.
So those are their plans for the future?
Yes, and
From what
That's
date,
good.
Jason? What date did you say?
April of 2019.
Oh, that's
They had
great.
this, Tata and Howard, they've given me page 1 through 6. I think there was a bunch of like technical tables in there that he didn't include. Then from here, we've got phase 1 through phase 4 improvement. So there's a lot of great information in here if they want to do within the town. They also do Edgecombe, Dresden, and parts of Woolwich. And so this, and he says they all work together. I mean, anecdotally, I've got a bunch of stories, and I don't want to sit here and trash the sewer department, but it would really make sense if they were the same, working together. Or, you know, we really need to reevaluate who runs the sewer treatment plant, it would appear. And I don't want to take a side, but they also don't want that lumped onto them, you know, indiscriminately. It would have to be it sounds really bad, the sewage water treatment plant, you know, as
Yeah,
opposed
it is.
to, I didn't like hearing that under our brand new Main Street to our collapsed sewer lines. And we just went through all of that, and that didn't manage to get addressed at the same time as the whole thing was that. And this goes back 20 years, this goes back to things that, but they have updated a lot of stuff, and I think they're forward looking, and they work, like I said, work with all the other towns. Apparently they're part of this, Five Rivers Water Council, so, they go as far as Bowden, they cooperate. It says except for one 30-mile stretch of pipe near Yarmouth, we could actually in emergency get water all the way from Biddeford. Like the whole coast is connected, the whole water system is connected. I was impressed, you know, by what I heard. So there's a lot of technical stuff in here they want for stuff, and he just updated a few things in here. So that was actually really encouraging that is, appears to be run well. They have a board, they have a 4-member board that people get elected to, and they're self-supporting. He didn't call it an enterprise entity like the treatment plant would be. But obviously it makes sense that you're doing essentially the same work. And if the water treatment plant were moved, then all the water lines, I mean, it'd be a massive undertaking if we were to move it or update it. And so, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. I thought it was really positive from what I was told. I was told by the person that runs it, okay, I'll say that too, but, you know what I mean? I didn't hear anything like, you know, these are all the things we need. There's a giant water storage tank behind the high school. There's, we've got the pumping station here. And then, of course, we know a couple years ago they updated a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They tore up a lot of
They
towns,
did.
put new pipes all the way up that road.
And that's when everybody's rates went up that same year. People were upset.
Did the water rates go up?
Yeah.
I don't remember. They
Yes,
might
you
seem about this, I don't remember that the rates
You
went up.
stood in your driveway and complained about it.
About the water rates? Or
Yeah.
the sewage rates? The
Water
sewage
rates, and then it was like 35% they went up, and then sewage rates went up this year.
Mine have somehow managed to go down, and I've done some stuff in my house. And I have one less kid in my house, that helped a
One
lot.
less teenager.
Yeah.
But,
All right.
anyway, I don't remember that conversation.
Well, that sounds good.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I've often thought it, you know, what they did on the water should be an asset that we market, you know.
I did, it
We
was
don't think
very
about
positive.
infrastructure as an asset to market, but given all the play on water around the country, I think it is.
So I do have some more questions for him, now that I've read through this again, but it's,
And
there's
it
a lot
looks-
right here that would be very useful, and I just want to be sure we can put this in like that.
I think so, but I don't know if it would go into the inventory part, or if it would go into,
Might be an appendix, or you could pull out some key parts to go into the inventory.
yeah, or it would go into like
Strategic
the
plan.
planning part,
Yeah.
or the vision.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing when Ellsworth is available, our Lincoln County planner, she can maybe help, like advise on those
Yeah.
things. All right, Katie, you're next.
Okay, transfer station, and I met with Ron Lear, and he was very helpful. He also, I gave him a little advance warning by email and told him what, I sent him a copy of the 08. It was only one page for the transfer station. And he gave me a list of the equipment that he's got, and also as far as looking ahead, he's got budgeted, it looks like about 8 years ahead, he's got it budgeted for what equipment needs replacing. So, for example, trash trailer is one thing that's in poor condition, expect to replace in fiscal year 23-24. And another item that's in poor condition is this Bobcat, whatever that is. And so I've got this table for equipment, and we took the old page that came out of the 08 comprehensive plan and kind of went from there. In 08, it said the most significant challenge was replacing funds lost following the closure of Maine Yankee. And what it looks like now is the most significant challenge is skyrocketing tipping fees. And Kim, you were talking about that at the last meeting, so I think everybody's probably aware of the whole deal with China having been the biggest buyer, and then for recyclable material, and then when they determined that too much trash was mixed in, prompted them to impose new restrictions. So, as probably everybody here has heard, the tipping fee went from $5 a ton to $125 a ton for single stream. So, in July, that's why the system was changed. Instead of single stream, it's now sorting. And a lot of the plastics that were recycled now are ending up in the trash. So,
The fellow that works there, Dave Flynn, told me that the new contract, they have that the stuff that we don't recycle that now goes in the trash is actually hand-picked by people somewhere else, and if it isn't number one or number two plastics or whatever, so you're throwing away a lot more plastic bubble containers and stuff, that there are people actually ripping through your trash and recycling them elsewhere.
Yeah, I heard that.
yeah.
But I wonder,
That's odd.
they still take single stream in Portland, because I take my trash to my sister's in Portland. And I don't know if it's because it's a bigger market that they can sell it, and whether, anyway, this is in solutions, but
Yeah.
I'm curious why they can't and Portland can, maybe it's just size.
Well, another big problem that he mentioned was the place where the regular trash goes. It's this Fiber-Rite plant in Hampton, and
That's new, that's like a new deal. that we have.
Yeah, it's a 4.5 hour round trip, and he has to, the guys that run the transfer station have to haul it. So he's got to balance costs of hauling the stuff versus the tipping fees and all that. It's kind of a
I think the reason that they want to haul it to Fiber-Rite is because Fiber-Rite has this new technology where, I don't know if it's new, it's new to our town anyway. They incinerate everything, and then they're able to get the melted fossil fuels and
What does it do to the air?
I don't know if recycle's the right word, they convert it into natural gas. And so it's like a good solution. So all that clear plastic that you're throwing away is then being, and all the plastic bags and everything is then being recovered and used as like natural gas. Is that?
Do you know anything about the emissions? I know in former landfills, the emissions are.
Yeah, it's supposed to be clean. I would like to go there. That's a place I would really like to go.
What's it
To
called?
where their
Fiber?
It's Fiber-Rite, and it's brand new.
And where is it being?
The facility is new,
Hampton,
and so a year ago, we were waiting for them to be open so we could start
Right.
taking our trash there. But now that we're doing it, maybe it is a long drive. It's
Where
almost
do
only
we
an
take
hour.
it before, do you know?
I don't know, no. And the other thing, I'm waiting on an answer, with the list of equipment, the top of the list, of course, was the building, and he said, fair condition, but repairs needed in the near future. So, on that one, I asked him, I said, right now we're working on inventory, but when we get to the planning phase, we're gonna need to know, more specifically what those repairs are. So, I didn't get an answer yet, but.
I feel like repairs and maintenance are a recurring theme. We just, earlier today, and now I'm digressing, but the select board toured the pier, and we looked at the pier with the waterfront committee and the town manager, and it just seems like we don't do a lot of repairs and maintenance just in general in our town, because there's a ton of work that needs to be done now on the Creamery Pier. Like almost, it looks like we could use a whole new deck, right? And so, it's like, gosh, maybe definitely in our planning, we should include some
We need
maintenance.
one of those
Yeah.
preservation as progress signs.
Yeah,
Past
right.
it. And ironically enough, that one is just totally deteriorating.
I know, I've noticed that.
Oh, man.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That, you're talking about the sign on Route 1?
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
awesome, but
Preservation is.
it's falling
I
apart.
remember seeing that when you first moved to me, and I was like, wow, this is a cool place. Okay, anything else, Kate?
No.
Thank you.
So I have school department and Parks and Rec, and so I reached out to Terry and reached out to John. The 2008, in the 2008 plan, I believe we were part of the RSU, so it had just a paragraph about the schools. So John gave me the first thing I asked John was like, I know you've got buses, a bus garage, and so he gave me, the list of buses. And he gave
John Mary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna require a bunch of updating, you're right.
It is, so I need to pretty much start from scratch, and so he gave me an updated facilities and property asset listing, and what they've got, and then he took our form and he just filled out, just very, he's very nice handwriting too.
For a guy, sorry.
Like,
Very good handwriting.
He really does have nice handwriting. So, he said that the middle high school was built between 1961 and then an addition on it in 1973, and he lists that condition as fair. So they've done a lot of work to the high school in particular. In the elementary school, looks like he did some work in 1951 and 1968, and he's listing that one in 4 condition, and gives a listing of the things that really need to be updated there. So that's what I got from the school. Parks and Rec, I talked to Lisa, she assigned it to Bob, Bob went on vacation, Lisa resigned, I got nothing. I'll try again with Bob, because he's back from vacation now, but that's another area in the 2008 plan, there was just very little about what the town actually owned. It gave a list of recreational sites.
That was fine, some of those sites are weird, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not town property, and some of them I knew had closed, and so I'm hoping to get an updated list. I'm hoping to get it back, because, one of the questions I've always had about Parks and Rec is, so what else is involved in Parks and Rec besides the community center? Because I know it's more than the community center, and there's a lot of scuttle going on in town, even within the last week about, if we got the community center budget, and it's really the if I understand, it's really the Parks and Recreation budget, and you have some people who I think are misinterpreting it, as that being the sole part of,
Well, they own the playground next to the superintendent's office, they own the Little League field, and I believe they own the ball field right next to the school, which I always thought was the elementary school's field, and it's belongs to the park. It's not school property. The tennis courts are listed, that are no longer there.
The tennis courts too, right, yeah, you're
That's
right.
all counts.
And the sunken garden, isn't that part of it?
I don't
Town
know.
common.
I don't know, I'm hoping that Bob's gonna give me a list.
White's Island, I
I'm
think would
hoping-
fall into Parks and Rec.
Yes, and none of that is in the current. And I knew we were doing a class over the summer, at the pier, and there were always Parks and Rec people down there maintaining, like the restrooms and stuff, so they've got something to do with that. So I wanna make sure that they get credit for everything that they
Yeah, that would
do.
be a good section to fill out.
So, I pretty much get to just write it.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Didn't exist.
Wow. So it sounds like a lot,
Yeah.
seems like you
I
have
am
you a
confident.
lot to do.
It might be easier, sometimes it's easier to start from scratch than it is to redo somebody else's work. So, I think we'll be okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So I did Public Works and Highway Department, and back in 2008, one of their issues was aging equipment, and then they have a list of 8 trucks that they had, and all of them except one have been replaced. So, and then now our oldest truck in the fleet is a 2005, and that's like the only one that he really feels like he's thinking of replacing now. And then the other issue they have the same number of employees. We did a little tour, it's pretty neat if you've never been to the town garage, it's a pretty cool place to go. His salt and sand shed needs maintenance. So there's issues with the roof, and then if the salt and sand gets wet, it's bad. For that stuff to get wet, they need to keep it covered in there. So that there's just more maintenance issues. And that's That, I mean, this is a small section, pretty much, there's no other update, just for my tour with Ted Snowden, just to change the equipment list.
That's their only building they work out of? There isn't a satellite building? I never noticed one, but,
But,
you know, like sometimes, maybe it's more of a county thing, there's like the main building, and then in different areas, they'll have a smaller building that has some equipment in it.
no, I think that's the only
place they
building.
have, yeah.
Yeah, if he has other buildings, he did not mention them.
I don't think there is, I
I don't
just wondered if
think
there
so.
was one tucked away somewhere, you know,
Alright, and then,
a break room.
yes,
Where would like random buildings that the town owns that aren't, have much to do with these departments, would that be under public works as well?
no, like what kind of random buildings, like
Could
the
be
scout
art-
hall and
The scout hall, the
art.
art building.
So, those, that's a good point, I don't know where those are.
Which art building?
The main art gallery.
But
The town
that,
owns it.
but that isn't owned, that is owned by the town.
We lease to them every year.
Leased to the.
For $1.
I see,
It's $1 a year. This section, it's probably just in another section, which we'll get to.
Okay.
We were just not there yet. And the section is called, just getting to the section title. It's
The main
public.
Main art gallery might be under historic and archaeological resources, but what was the other
These are
one you
just, you
mentioned?
know,
Oh, the scout hall.
The scout hall. This is just called public facilities and services.
Okay.
So I'm not sure why art gallery would be in there, but we should make a note of that.
Yeah.
To look, you know, as we go through, because if we don't, if we
If
lose
we
track
don't
of
see
that,
it
we need to
anywhere,
go
we better
back.
put it in, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be places like, and if it's something gardens, not parks and rec, like the town knows that. If White Island is not Parks and Rec, the town knows that.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
That was part of my question.
Yeah.
Public
Yeah.
works.
Like even the piers,
The power.
It shows up
like
in the
where the
budget.
piers belong.
Well, isn't there-
I'm thinking the piers belong under, I mean,
That might be
Yeah.
under.
The piers are probably
Yeah.
under maybe natural resources.
Or marine resources, I mean, marine
I've seen
resources is
Steve do
part
it.
of natural resources, so it could be in there.
Yeah,
But those are good questions. Where did those things fall?
yeah. I mean, here are the sections with historic and archaeological resources, population, housing, economy, natural resources, public facilities and services, municipal finances, transportation, land use, and regional coordination. And I'm thinking probably natural resources is everything to do with the water.
Yeah, I can tell you it's a natural resources. It was soil and water quality, wetlands, groundwater, wildlife and unique natural areas, scenic resources, farmland, forest, and marine resources. So it's kind of a wide ranging,
So
sprawling.
we'll look for that. You could
Yeah.
try, we own the 2 docks.
Yeah.
maybe we should also look at energy resources.
I've added that to my own list, Carl. I totally agree. I think that should be under
We've
natural
got a community
resources.
solar farm.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
The other one was library, and Jolie sent me an email, so if I can find that, I'll give you the Hardwick, and then we can talk about our next thing. All right, so at the library, basically, the building it was built in 1805. It's in good to very good condition. It's in the process of having the roof replaced. And the only equipment that they have are 2 computers worth $750 each. There's nothing else on there. So, that was
are they
every,
part of the main school and library now? Like they should be.
they should be.
I think they are.
Are you thinking of the Broadband?
Most of the schools and libraries are part of it.
They do other things besides typical library functions. Like I heard of somebody that had a child taken from them and they were able to visit them at the library.
They
Oh.
do offer a space like that for the community. I know that I have tutored students at the library through the school. It was like so they do things like that, so. But doesn't the library's on the town department, right? Because they're budgeted separately. Like we contribute
give back.
$68,000 or something.
Yeah, I think it's a private institution, but the town supports it because it's a public asset to the town, as I recall.
So that should be in there too, probably. All right, so I feel like I emailed everybody a copy of, a link, not a copy, I emailed everyone a link to a new Google Doc that's called Section 6. And not everyone, just the people who worked on these sections. Should I send it to you?
Yeah, I wanted to see it.
You want
To
see it?
everybody?
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of feel
I'll do
we
that.
we should probably all look at each other's stuff, because if
Okay.
questions or comments come up.
All right, I'm going to forward this to you guys right now.
Thank you for doing all that.
Yes, you're welcome. All right.
Did you just type all that while we were talking?
Yeah.
She's
That's great.
Sadly, though, there's no such thing as multitasking. So while I did that, and the truth is, I tell this to my students all the time, like we just think we're multitasking, but you're switching back and forth. So like I'm not 100% with you, I apologize. It's like too many
Don't do it all.
irons in the air, balls in the fire, or something like that. Doesn't make sense. All right, so review note, identify, step 1, back to the agenda. We reviewed our updates from section 6. So before we go into next step 2, which is identify volunteers for the next sections, should we move forward and like identify next sections, or do you guys feel like you need some time to type this stuff up before we bite off the next piece?
What's the next piece being, the ones that haven't been done, or something?
That was just section 6 of the comprehensive plan. I wish I could show it to you.
Do you have the agenda?
Yeah, I do, but.
Yeah, those are, I guess you just chose like the
I
next chunk
just
of
took like the
sections.
next chunk and I
Yeah.
looked through and I thought with the number of people that we have, we could probably put 3 people in historic and archaeological resources, 2 people in population, 1 person could probably handle housing, 2 people could handle economy, and then 3 people on natural resources. And then I thought we could divide it up amongst ourselves. But because we decided now that everyone's going to type up their own little piece of section 6, should we
I
pause
see
right
what you're
there?
saying.
Yeah, and then like give it another month, or what do you guys
I don't
want
have
to do?
anything to do, so I don't mind jumping in.
Okay.
And I could start jumping in some stuff too, because I didn't do what you guys
Not that I don't
did.
have other things to do, but.
Yeah. But we might as well,
I don't mind plunging into it. Plus, I think broadband should be part of the first one, it's not in there.
yeah,
So I could do that.
good idea. Because that is
You
a
need to
public
know-
service and, I mean,
Well, it's basic
infrastructure, yeah.
All right, so then Carla, do you want to write a broadband piece?
I do.
Would it be broadband/communications, or?
Well, I could do, wireless is just as important as broadband, both are. I don't know as much about wireless, but I'll find out.
Okay,
Um,
and that'll go under, you think, section 6?
Well, it's a part, it should be.
Public
part of
facilities
public
and
facilities. It should be, it's private, but it should be thought of from my point of view as a public good. It
So,
should
but
be-
I wonder though, because this is an inventory of what exists now, if
Right.
it's not.
But there's broadband in Lincoln County, there's fiber in Lincoln County. I think what we need to do, to the best of my ability, and it's being done in the broadband plan,
Yeah,
to just capture that
Yeah.
for the comprehensive plan, what we have now.
okay,
And.
So then do that.
I don't exactly know where to get the wireless stuff, but I'll ask, the towers, how good the coverage is, things like that.
these are things that probably 10 years ago weren't as important as they are
Yeah.
today. It's
Yeah.
crazy, even our house, we built our house in 2006, and every room has cable outlets and phone jacks.
Yeah, that's so.
I was like, when the kids are teenagers, they're probably going to want their own phone in their room. It's like so silly, and that was only 2006, so.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
had been changing.
And I don't mind starting to take a stab at the other one. I'm passionate about the population housing economy pieces, not so much in updating what we have, but we need to know that.
Mhm.
So if you want me to take part of that, I don't mind doing that.
Well, so now I'm gonna leave it up to you guys, like, is there, first off, you should tell me if you think we need to pause until we finish rewriting section 6. And then second off, is there something that speaks to you out of historic and archaeological resources? And this is where it would be good to actually look through it, and sadly I don't have a projector, but
But we have it, you've made it available to us.
yes,
Yeah.
it's here. And so I don't know if you want to just pull, it's on the town website, like I made a website and it's linked there. We can maybe break into, like, do you want to break into groups right now and like look at these sections and decide? Or do you want me just to run through some of the broader headlines and then you can like make a mental note like, oh, that speaks to me and this is what I want to sign
Yeah,
up for.
maybe doing that. Do you, can I also ask, I'm thinking about, when I think about natural resources, which is probably where I'll put some of my time,
Did you write the last one?
I worked on it,
Yeah.
yeah. But
It's very thorough.
there was quite a big gang working on it. We had, you know, I think we had someone on every separate section, but anyway, I'm just thinking about, for instance, historic and archaeological resources. Do we know that people, like, I remember James Cochin was here at the first meeting, and I know he's quite an expert in historic preservation, so I'm just, do you know if he's still involved? It would be so great to get people with expertise in the area to sort of,
I think it would be good just to reach out to them.
Yeah, and say,
He showed up once.
Yeah.
And get them involved.
yeah. I think it's worth a try. I just think when you have passion, are you in our historic
I'm a
preservation?
geologist, so I'm
Oh,
drawn to
good.
natural
Yay.
resources.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
That's also why I grabbed the wastewater plant, you know,
That-
last meeting.
That is
I
right,
mean,
because I
where it
am,
aligns with expertise, that means.
yeah, I am not a technical, I mean, I'm more like habitat, forests and farmland and scenic resources, and we've lost, the people who lived here in 2008 who did that aren't here anymore, so that would be amazing to have you.
So Kevin and Ann. So we're just kind of all over the place, but what I'm hearing is that Kevin and Ann want to work on natural resources.
So
as a
what would
start.
you, so you would take, Kevin, what are you thinking would be ones that would,
I have to look,
okay,
see what's there maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
and then,
Soil and water quality?
Yeah.
and you guys can
Yeah.
talk to each other after this in like subcommittee
Yeah,
meeting
that's
and like
true.
plan it out. Subcommittee of the
Yeah.
initial committee. Let me run through some of these headlines and these other
Yeah.
things then, and then, and I'm just gonna decide, because nobody yelled, stop, we can't move on.
Yeah.
We'll update section 6 and then we're gonna get new homework too. Everyone's good with that? And if you're not, then just say so and that's okay too. So, all right. So under historic and archaeological resources, I will reach out to James.
James, that's a good
Yeah.
idea. He might know people too. who
He
can help.
does, yes. And there are new members, I think, coming onto the Historic Preservation Commission.
So the
like there-
commission would be a great,
That's
group
it, like
to
wherever
tap.
we can use our town boards or
Yeah.
committees, we
That's
should.
a
So
great-
like when there's a waterfront section that needs updating, we should definitely sit with waterfront.
That one shouldn't be
people.
too tough anyway, only unless one of those historic buildings is gone. Now, you know what I mean? Most of that should be pretty.
Are you
close.
starting trouble?
No,
Is this about
I
the
mean,
CDI?
no, I mean, I'm
Is
just
this
saying.
about the
I
Hockey
don't-
Garage?
You know what I mean?
What about those historic parking spaces?
but the inventory that was done, it was complete. I mean, that's static with the exception of that one building. So
Right.
that gives that committee a great leg up already. I mean, they don't have to, you know, originally.
Yeah.
No, I
just
wasn't,
start-
by the way, I didn't get that at first, I
You
wasn't.
totally
No, I wasn't.
You
That
did.
building
You brought up
wasn't
that.
considered historic, it would have been anywhere west of here, but here it's not, it wasn't
Where I
nearly old
worked
enough.
for 20, 30
Yeah.
years.
All right, well, under that heading, I'm just gonna read through the headings. So we have a historic overview, there's prehistoric archaeology, and these sections, like that whole section, prehistoric archaeology, it doesn't look like one page. It's very brief,
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think. There's probably, not that we want to read them. And then designation of a historic district. Private properties listed, and there's a whole list of things that are in the National Register of Historic Places. And you're right, that shouldn't have changed, maybe there would be new ones identified.
I don't know.
I don't see that garage.
It might, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't do that.
I feel sad about that.
I don't think anybody was happy about that.
I'm thinking that one thing that has changed, Kim, though, is that we didn't have a historic preservation commission when we last. So
that would need to be added.
it would be fun to call them and just say, okay, what's going on? How's the process working? And
You haven't read the paper.
Yeah.
I've stopped reading the paper actually, which is a
It's
terrible
going,
thing.
It's changing.
it is changing, things are changing. I see the pumpkin house is listed here. It's been painted.
Yeah, it's not pumpkin
It's got an
anymore.
inappropriate fence. All right, public properties listed in the National Register of Historic
That's
Places.
the same.
Schools, it's got this, this is kind of neat, it has all the schools listed from like 1792 forward. That's kind of neat. And then it says fishing, and then here's another big headline, timber trade, shipbuilding, brickyards, ice, railroad.
Do all the comprehensive plans go back like that, you know, because they're dense that way, they're hard, I mean, it's interesting, but they're hard to read for future planning.
I think they're just trying to establish context, you know, I mean, and also they hit the sort of factual history of a place, but I think it's sort of setting the stage for.
Because I started getting bogged down in the detail.
I know.
of it, where you can't see the, you know,
The big,
forest for the trees kind
Yeah.
of thing. And, anyway, I know it's easier to update what's there, but I don't find it as easy to work with.
you might want to look at, I know Kim mentioned in the beginning the two sections, the inventory and then goals, strategies, and policies, I think is another section. And then there's the future land use policy, and that's a really important document.
Please, I've got those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sections 11 and 12.
Sometimes it's easier to just look at that, because those are like the conclusions of, you know, what everybody thought should happen.
Yeah, and that's, when we get done with this inventory update, then we can like get into that juicy stuff and be like, all right, this is what we plan to do. Did we do it? Like, I think one of the plans was to create a historic preservation commission.
Yes, it was.
And so that's a success.
Yeah.
That, we have that.
We have to count our successes.
Yeah. All right,
At some point, we're supposed to become a town committee and actually fill out our forms and.
yes. And so my plan, so just kind of jumping down to review the planning process and adjust if necessary. I'm thinking that's step 2. So step 1 is just going to be this volunteer working group of whoever and everyone who wants to come to the table and like roll up their sleeves and do this legwork. And then step 2 is plan the planning process, and the first thing on there is identify selectmen appointed committee members. So that is when there will probably be a committee of, I don't know, 12 people, 20 people? I don't know, we'll figure that out. I feel like we can determine what we recommend to the select board, and then they'll appoint the committee members. So, yeah. And I just didn't want to appoint committee members for this kind of brutal process that might just drive people away. They may not want to, you know, not everybody's going to want to do all of this inventory updating, and there are parts of it that we can go to Jim Colchin or the Historic Preservation Commission and say, do you guys want to take a look at this?
Yeah.
You know, or these are our questions for you, and not everyone's going to want to do all of it. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Holly. But, all right, so for historic and archaeological resources, just running right through the titles again, there's state laws and programs, and there's existing historic preservation programs and laws. And so that's going to be updated with our new ordinance, which is going to be reviewed, is in review. There's local ordinances. There's a whole section, potential consequences of inaction. I noticed a few places in here where the
Where is that?
writers, this is under historic and archaeological
All
resources.
potential sources.
Yeah, potential consequences of inaction, where people just kind of like guessed what might happen. Like there's a section of population about how, you know, there's a large population of single women in their town, like living in homes by themselves and the impact that they thought that that might have on the community in 10 years. I don't know,
That's under population to me.
yeah, that's under population, but there was parts of it, as, when I read it, that didn't sound like just data. It
It was
was kind of
opinion.
anecdotal, you
Yeah.
know, there was like a little bit of, I don't know if opinion's the right word, but just sort of assumptions about what could happen.
Well,
I kind of
that
would
stuff's
like to
really important in
strip that out.
terms of, maybe it's the second stage, but that's the stuff I'm interested in.
The demographics.
The demographics
Yeah.
is like one of the most critical things that we have in Maine and in Wisconsin.
So Carla, I'm writing your name down next to population.
Yeah, no, I wanted to.
She's
come
the
back.
perfect
I'm
person.
just dying to take on population.
Yeah, okay. And a lot of the population section, you can update with the census. And so this 2008 one refers to the 2000 census over and over. So,
There's also I know you've used the census material, but there's updated interim census material that's not quite as accurate, but it's better, given that it's 2019,
yeah,
that we use that, the American survey data.
okay.
I mean, I can update what's in the census for the exercise, but what we really should be looking at is the other data, which is a sample.
Then I
It's
think,
not-
yeah, then let's look at that, like include that.
Yeah.
I think so. All right. You know what, I'm not gonna read through all of these headlines. I feel
Yeah,
like
no,
we're
it's
doing
okay.
pretty good just talking. So then the other two sections, so for historic and archaeological resources, I've written down, reach out to Historic Preservation Commission. And we'll see if we can get help from those people. And then, population, I wrote Carla's name, natural resources, we have Kevin and Ann. And then that leaves housing and economy. And housing, this is just literally like lists of numbers of homes and people who live in these homes in our town and in surrounding towns. And the source is again, the census. So,
I was gonna say, I'm interested in all that, maybe, you can collect the data, but I think we need the real estate trends that are more recent.
do you want to work on that too?
Yeah, I can help with that, yeah, sure. I
Okay.
was just gonna use the census data, but I know.
But like, they put out real estate, there is some stuff in there in terms of what the values are. I read it on Jason's. But I think a more in-depth look at what's happening in the real estate market would be helpful for us.
Okay. And then economy, so I thought we would need 3 people to do those, or 2 people to do population and 1 person to do housing. So if you want to work on both of those things, do you guys, the 2 of you want to take on, like,
we can
population and
housing.
housing?
You do population, you could do
Oh,
housing, and then compare
And then
notes.
compare notes. Then under economy, for some reason I thought we would need 2 people to do economy.
What are the
All right,
categories?
so here are the, I'll read through this one. So there's a whole list first of recent economic highlights. It's got Maine Yankee, Mason Station, the business plan, Wiscasset Regional Development Corporation, the waterfront master plan, etc.
Was there not a Chamber of Commerce when this was done?
No, there wasn't.
was.
No, I helped start
It's
that.
fairly
I'm
new.
saying,
Yeah, I speak
remember I was the treasurer?
You were, I think
You
you
doing
did a great
this
job.
now?
We have some.
Did I get
I
that?
do, right, oh, right.
I
Because
Yeah.
everyone was like, you've never heard the speech.
No, no, I have all I need.
I speak
I just remember that, I just think you were doing a great job.
Yeah, we'll quit talking now.
Yeah.
All right, this refers to a Midcoast Maine Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy from 2002. And then it has figures on employment and unemployment. There's a civilian labor force table from the census.
I mean, I don't mind coordinating that stuff, they all go together. Population feeds economy, population is part of, I mean, they all go
Housing,
together.
population, economy are sort of a lump.
So if people want to work on it, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Zach.
Zach, yeah, I mean, parcel it out to go to the census or whatever, but,
Well, do you feel overwhelmed to work on population, housing, and economy? You want to do all those three in the next month? Like update them?
Let me take a stab at it. If you've got somebody else that actually wants to go to the census and put that in, but the thing is,
Sounds like Zach.
yeah, Zach does for housing. But I'll also dig up the American survey that's updated every few years. And
All
look at
right.
that.
You know, the Lincoln County Economic Development,
Yeah, they got a lot.
they probably have a lot of those stats too, that Zach might make it easy for
Yeah.
you.
Or the Mid-Coast Workplace Development.
They
Usually we
have
go
some
there
too.
and they have all that, the trends for the economy.
Well, the Labor Department has all that. It's all on their website. Yeah.
Well, does anybody else want to jump in on those categories to help? Or I'm actually feeling pretty good if I just type up my section from last time.
Yeah.
But I don't want to
I
sound like
actually
a
have some more questions to
slacker.
go back. I want to go with Kevin. We're gonna go to the.
I do want to do that too, just because I feel like I should know.
I mean, I may be overly optimistic in my newfound.
Well, you can, I think you can just start it.
I'll just start. and see
I mean,
what-
I know that, I am sure that we can't get natural resources done in a month either, but I think anything we can do is
Just to
just a.
update, right. Well, so then that brings us to, so when I made this agenda last week, I was really enthusiastic. I'm like, wow, look at, we already knocked out section 6. When are we gonna finish this? Like, maybe we can get the inventory done by December, but probably not realistic since we need to go back and look at section 6 some more. But I would like to have like a goal for ending the update of the inventory. And I would love it if we could have had everything done by the time my term is up in June, but I don't think we are. So I don't think we're gonna finish this by June. The
There's a
whole
lot of
plan.
public participation,
Yeah.
even if we start putting out stuff, there's a huge amount, that's the most
That's
important.
time
So
consuming.
can we just like make a goal to finish the inventory update by sometime in like the early spring of 2020?
The inventory, we should get it done before that, shouldn't we?
Okay.
Before early spring.
Okay, so maybe by December, like by the end of the year?
Yeah, by the end of the year, maybe.
The inventory of, that
This
we've
is
already
just-
started on, you mean?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can definitely set a goal for
I
that.
mean, is there much more other than what we have here?
So
The
there's historic, there's these things, right?
and
Historic
then
and
any other new
population.
stuff?
So after natural resources, there is
Public facilities.
public, which we've done, or we're in the process of, and then municipal finances, transportation, land use, and regional coordination.
What's in?
And then we're done.
Yeah.
What's in municipal finance, is that the whole tax base and trends in the tax?
Yes, it's historical valuations and taxes. So this is just all data that we can pull off of the websites of like our town website probably, right? The state, well, the numbers that are in here are from the State Bureau of Taxation. So we can probably just like you
Just
can
update
go
them.
in the DOE website and get all of that information. We've seen it, I've looked at it before because I've always wanted to compare our mill rate to all the other surrounding towns to see that we're
And
about the same, like we're not that high compared to the
it
surrounding.
would be
towns.
interesting to analyze that data, where the greatest dependency is. It used to be obviously Maine, but do we have certain businesses that are carrying a lot of it? Not much, probably.
Yeah, the economy part's really kind of, who's the bigger employers here? School and Molinka
Mhm.
are the only two major.
But the school doesn't pay
Milwaukee,
the
yeah.
base for that, so.
Yeah, but the
anyway,
school doesn't pay in the way that Monuca pays.
I
like
mean, they don't pay tax. The school doesn't pay tax?
No, we
Or in lieu of
collect
tax.
tax.
How about Chewonki?
They don't pay taxes
We
either.
Right,
pay taxes
yeah.
on some of it.
You make a contribution, right?
I think we're
Paid in
required
lieu of
to
tax.
pay taxes on some part of it, but I'll have to check,
All right,
and I will.
so we're proposing a timeline for step 1. Are we gonna say we're gonna try and finish this by the end of the year?
I think that's a realistic goal.
Sounds
She
great.
says.
December. Well, we'll know when we come back
Yeah.
together.
If we
next
can't,
month.
we'll just have to keep slugging and plugging.
Well, so, and then we could start actually planning in 2020 and maybe have that whole strategic, the visioning and the goals done inside that calendar year, which means, like after our fiscal year and our terms are up, but then in the first half of the next part. I'm just deciding if I'm gonna run again.
Yeah, I was just
Yes,
gonna
you
ask
are.
you.
Oh,
You're not
I
gonna
think
run
you
again?
are.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
gonna
you
run
are.
again. One more time.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
one more
Because I'm
time.
not done yet with this. Okay, we'll finish this and then I'll be all right.
So you're saying try to finish inventories by the end of the year and.
And then do the visioning part inside calendar year 2020.
Okay.
So that's Sunday?
Yeah,
That's a good goal.
because it's visioning and then getting the feedback from the community to sell it.
All right, and then the last thing here on our agenda, and he's not at the school yet, I'm worried about my son. So David is visiting from away, he went away to school this year, and so he came to school today, and I was gonna take him home during my prep period, but he wanted to play gym, he was with his friends, and then the boys soccer team got called to an away game, and he went.
Oh,
And so, that's pretty cool. Maybe he'll come back. Okay, so the next thing is to review the planning process and then adjust if necessary. So everybody take a moment just to read step 1, update inventory list. And does this look right? Volunteer working group, go through the inventory items, update with 2019 data, add items not represented in 2008, and then assess this process and adjust if necessary. Do we need to do that? We're all good? Not good? I'm just wondering if we need to change our plan or we're good.
No, I don't think so. No.
Alright, so that's step 2, like plan the planning process, identify selected and appointed committee members, evaluate the 2008 goals, seek facilitator and consultant for 2020 goal setting, citizen outreach, conduct community-wide moderated goal session.
How much is this, we talked about, we have some money in the budget for this?
The step 2 part, we have 20,000 for this fiscal year, so we could actually,
That's for this consultant, basically, right?
yeah, yep, because it's not that much, I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, but, you know, remember, there were some towns, and I said the wrong town, I said it was Damerscott, I think it was Noblesboro or Newcastle,
And Overborough.
who paid like $140,000 or
And the
something,
voters rejected it.
and the voters rejected
Oh, you're, oh.
it. It was either,
And they paid to have the whole thing done.
yeah, they paid to have it done. Thank you so much for coming.
Welcome. No, he's coming back from, what was it, Region 3, the singing competition.
Oh,
So
really?
she needs a ride.
See you in Augusta Wednesday.
So, yeah, so that's what we have our 20,000, and, I think it would be good if we could do this whole thing for 20,000 instead of thinking like we've got 20 grand for this fiscal year, we can put in another 20 for next. But we'll know better when we get to step 2. But just if you eyeball any of the planning process, do we need to make any adjustments? I guess that's my question.
Not so far. I think we're all.
I think we'll
doing
know
our-
as we go through.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do too. We might need to recruit some more bodies. That's the
Try.
only thing I can think of right now.
They don't want to come.
I know, it's really
I
hard.
might be
to
there, I might be there.
Yeah.
See you.
But,
Well, they might be watching us though on YouTube.
Yeah.
They did last time. Kevin's
watching.
wife was
Yeah.
watching.
Joey's watching.
I mean, I'm not saying to, to lean on them, but I'm just thinking, we know people who are interested in different aspects of the town, and sometimes they just need to be, should be connected, say, hey,
Yeah.
you could just do that one little part.
Right.
You don't have
That
to
makes sense.
drive through, but.
That's why I didn't want to have like a selectman appointed committee right now because, you
Yeah.
know, there are people who can just help with each little section.
Yeah.
And they don't want to sign their whole life away.
Right.
Like that.
I have a question
Yeah.
for you. In this email, you've got the highlighted parts here. You've got comprehensive plan website. And then down below it says the comprehensive plan. And then audit the goals section. Which is the Google Doc that we can change? Which part of that is the whole thing the Google Doc?
Right here, here's the link. Is it that
Which
one?
Yeah, that's what this is.
I'm
What
not sure what you're looking
Which,
at.
which email is that? I'm not sure.
I sent you one
we
this
just
evening.
got it
Oh,
during
this
the meeting.
evening. Oh,
Yeah.
I think something else.
okay, great.
It's all, the one I sent you should just say this is the link to section 6, and that's all it says.
8/18/19, well, she just sent it to us, that's my newest one,
No.
6:25 PM. That is,
The thing I sent you tonight,
there's a link to section.
it has no subject, and it says, here's a link to
Ah,
section
thank
6.
you,
That's
again.
And then when you click that,
That was the thing she sent months ago.
it just has public.
Well, you probably put her
Yeah.
name in and then it popped up.
Oh, all right.
All right,
Okay,
you
now it
want
says
her,
Docs Google, okay, I'll figure it out.
So,
Thank you very much.
unless anybody has anything else, I think we're good to go. Are we good to go?
So Kevin, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was
I was just saying you and I should probably connect briefly.
Yeah.
Right now.
Guys, can you excuse
Carla,
me?
yes, C-A-R-L-A.
Hello?
Yes. Carla B.
Dickstein, D-I-C-K-S-T-E-I.
You know what, I'll send you an email tomorrow.
Yeah, at gmail.com.
Hi.
Carly, you're probably on Kenny's. Your email's
I
on
got you.
Kenny's.
Okay, that'd be great.
If, the Historic Society, if
Let me
they
get everybody
want
some-
someone
it's on the
else, I would
one
like
she
to
sent,
be,
right?
if they.
I think that's a great idea.
Carla B.
Sorry.
I'm interested.
I have two
The
emails.
other ones were.
Maybe I'll just email, because I have an email.
D-I-C-K.
All right, excellent. So maybe,
Yeah.
do you want to be the person who reaches out to
I
them?
don't know who those people are. Is that on the town website or anything?
Yep.
Okay.
Are we all
Yeah,
done?
okay, pretty much,
Do you guys
pretty
think-
flexible.
So,
Yeah, I'm working around, I'm
our
trying to
next
find
meeting
out.
date, if we stick with third Mondays, will
All
be
right, good, I really
November
appreciate it.
18th.
I like that.
November
Let me
18th.
write yours.
Yeah, we're
getting a little informal.
Great.
And I'm gonna turn off the
I'm a
YouTube.
large bit of face in there.
Hopefully it's not around.
Then I'll,
Four of them.
Yeah, okay, I was just thinking, I can just write
And Kim, do we always meet here now, or do we, or just that fluctuate?
we're gonna always meet here.
Here, okay.
Yeah, people wanted it to be on YouTube.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, actually, it's,
Ending.
South Jordan.
I knew I heard it was familiar. It's not that size, that's great. So, all this